Right now, we're going to go over the Atlantic for some news, not literally, but over in America, Cynthia Shackelford has become the first woman to successfully sue her husband's mistress for ruining her marriage. She used a very old and little-known American law. She apparently sued the mistress for instigating an alienation of affection between herself and her husband. Well, she didn't succeed in winning back her husband, but the court did order the mistress to pay her the equivalent of £6 million. Wow! That's not bad, is it? Yeah, isn't that incredible, really? But, well, it didn't solve the marriage problems. But, Leslie, when it comes to infidelity, do you think it's right to blame the other woman, the mistress?
God, that's going to put them off, isn't it, that, if they think that's going to happen?
Yeah.
That could change the face of adultery, couldn't it, really? But, to be honest, I think in these situations, well, it takes three, doesn't it, for things to go wrong. But no, I don't think you can purely blame the mistress, ever, really. Personally, I feel that if you're in a committed relationship with someone, then it's beholden upon you as an individual to try and maintain that relationship. So if you stray, you have to take responsibility for your own actions. And I think, you know, the buck stops with...
What about if you've got a mistress who, because sex is a very powerful tool, I think.
So.
I mean, if you'll pardon the expression. No, but really, and if either way, a man or a woman has strayed and realises they've made a terrible mistake and wants to go back and make their marriage work, and that other person says, no, I am going to come between you and your partner, your married partner. I'm either going to expose you or I'm going to, you know, draw you back in. And I think in that case, it's totally down to the mistress. And I think there are women who kind of eke revenge that way, to be honest.
If the man had never made the first step in the...
But they probably not necessarily did.
Start with.
Everybody's vulnerable. You'd be ridiculous not to say you're vulnerable to something. Either you're going through a bad patch, or and it's not always sex. It could be affection. People don't, for whatever reason, and because it's there on offer. But sex, I think, unless you've been in that position, if you're offered some and people are flattered and you get caught in it before you know where you are, and if that person doesn't let you go, you're stuck with that, and you are... One person can wreck a marriage.
No, because you should look into the marriage for that. It's not going to answer the problems of the marriage to look outside in that way, isn't it?
No, I'm not saying they are looking outside initially. I'm saying somebody could be minding their own business and that somebody else can fancy your husband and decide that that's the man for you.
But that's like the film, isn't it, Fatal Attraction?
Yeah.
She wouldn't let go. So that can happen. I mean, a friend of mine actually had an affair with a married man. He was very unhappy at home. He wanted to leave his wife. And then I don't know how the wife found out. I've got an inkling. The husband said and leaked it to her. She came in and threatened to sue this woman, this friend of mine, if she didn't leave him alone. Well, of course she left him alone. But if my friend had pursued it, then that would have destroyed whatever they might have kept together. So it's a very difficult thing to know which way to turn, isn't it? But they were all wrong, like you're saying. But she would have, if she'd have carried on, it would have destroyed even more.
But how often is it the woman, though, that gets the blame?
But it always is the woman that gets the blame, especially in the way... I think even women blame other women. I think that's our animal instinct, isn't it? Because we're territorial and protecting our relationships. But you look at Bill Clinton and poor Monica Lewinsky, who was a work experience girl, basically. Well, she was, wasn't it? She's got a big experience that she bargained for, but you know, and I thought, oh, Billy's lovely, and I remember Monica Lewinsky came into GMTV, and you sort of did feel she was the villain of the piece, which is awful. She was taken advantage of, really, and I think we all like to blame the women, don't we?
I think in a relationship, I mean, for instance, I can see it now. I always blamed myself for the downfall of my marriage. But then I blame myself in a way, because when I got married, the person I married said to me, let's get married. I could never be faithful. I am not a faithful person. Oh, yes, you are. I'll change you. No, you won't. Yes, I will. OK, let's go ahead. So who do you blame then? He wasn't faithful. He told me he wouldn't be faithful. I was devastated. So how could I blame anybody but me for that? Yeah. And that's,
well,
you know, at the end of the day...
of you. And I think at the end of the day, be it a man, a woman who's got a lover, or a man who's got a mistress, at the end of the day, as we've said, the point is you avoid it, you walk away. That, you know, if you've got any kind of maturity about you, don't put yourself there in the first place. That's the answer.
It's a man's world when it comes to affairs of the heart and affairs generally, really, isn't it?